What's up, everybody? Aaron Pryor here. This is Big 12 Big Football, and we've reached the halfway point of the football season. Now, it's a super light week of Big 12 action this week. Oklahoma will take on TCU, and Kansas will travel out to Lubbock to take on Texas Tech. Now, there's a new team at the top of the Big 12 football standings. After moving to 4-0 in league play, the Longhorns are in that top spot. West Virginia, Oklahoma, and Texas Tech each have one loss in league play. Baylor, Iowa State, and TCU round out the top 7. Now, this week I want to look at some of the top individual performers in the conference here at the halfway point. We'll definitely touch on what to expect out in West Texas this afternoon, but I want to start in Fort Worth as Oklahoma visits TCU. When the Frogs and Sooners get together, it's always a great game. In the 3 games that have been played in Fort Worth between these two teams, the average margin of victory is less than 6 points. Both teams come into this game off their bye week, looking to restart momentum into the second half of the season. TCU hasn't put up the offensive numbers in conference play thus far that they would like, but you can't deny what the defense has done to keep them in these games. The Frogs lead the Big 12 in points allowed per game, yards allowed per game. They're third in sacks, with Ben Banigou leading the way at 4.5 sacks on the season. Plus, Ennis Gaines and Jeff Gladney are both fifth in the league with 6 pass breakups apiece.
He's as good schematically as anybody in the country. You know, defensively, they've always been strong. And then Coach Cumby and those guys have obviously done a great job offensively. So they really don't have many weaknesses. You know, they've got a lot of great athletes on the field. They're committed to what they do, and he's obviously made that a top-tier program.
For the Sooners, this week is all about just getting back out there and turning the page. Defensively, the Sooners obviously want to zip things up and are relying on Ruffin McNeil to get that going. On offense, they're the same Sooner team with Kyler Murray, who still leads the Big 12 in total touchdowns, Marquise Brown and CeeDee Lamb being 2 of the most electric players in not just the Big 12, but all of college football. 315 miles west of Fort Worth, Texas Tech looks to pick up a home conference win as the Kansas Jayhawks come to town with an upset on their minds. We'll start with the home team. The Red Raiders find themselves right in the thick of things at this juncture of the season. In Tech's 2 conference wins so far, the Red Raider defense held Oklahoma State and TCU to 17 and 14 points respectively. And as most in the Big 12 know, linebacker Dakota Allen is a central piece in what makes the wheels turn on that side of the ball. The 6'1 senior leads the Red Raiders in total tackles and has been a leader on this team ever since his return to Lubbock last year.
He's a guy who's been through it all. So for the young players in our program to have a guy like that they can talk to and he can kind of share his story, it's been awesome. You know, came back last summer and was voted a captain after 3 months of summer workouts, and just the type of presence he has in our program. Does everything right, everything you want as model student athlete. He's a guy who, you know, owned his mistake and battled back, and now has a chance to go out on top as a senior and a defensive captain.
The Raider defense ranks in the middle of the Big 12 in rushing yards allowed and total points allowed per game. They'll have to deal with a Kansas team that, though winless in conference thus far, has clearly made great strides this season. On the ground, the Jayhawks average 4.7 yards per rush, and that in large part is thanks to the big guys up front. Every coach will tell you that everything starts up front, in the trenches, O-line versus D-line. And coming into the season, head coach David Beatty knew he had a special group up front.
One of the things that really I think sticks out to me is the development of the population of O-linemen that we have. I think that's so critical in this game. I can't understate how important that is. And we have collected quite a few really talented players.
The Jayhawk defense has been nasty as well this year. They lead the league in interceptions and defensive touchdowns, and will of course be looking to add to those totals this weekend in Lubbock. Top performers. These are some of the league leaders through 6 and 7 games thus far this year, and guys, you've got to keep your eye on as we make our way through the second half of the season. First off, Will Grier. The preseason player of the year, leads the Big 12 in passing touchdowns and completion percentage. For quarterbacks that have played at least 6 games, he also leads the league in passing yards per game. Now, when it comes to running the ball, K-State's Alex Barnes leads in almost every single category. The junior Wildcat rushes for better than 112 yards per game and leads the Big 12 with 9 rushing touchdowns. But get this, in K-State's last 2 games alone, Barnes has 7 touchdowns and rushed for a combined 431 yards. Defensively, Texas Tech's Adrian Fry leads the league with 4 picks and 9 pass breakups. Oklahoma State DN Jordan Brailford has been a terror in the opponent's backfield. He has 8 sacks on the year thus far. All right, top plays to take us home. Number 3, West Virginia, Iowa State. Not the final result the Mountaineers wanted, but Kenny Bigelow Jr. blocks the field goal. Derek Pitts returns it all the way for the Mountaineer touchdown. Number 2, same game. Brock Purdy threads the needle to Deshaunte Jones as the Cyclones take a 2-score lead here early in the fourth quarter on that touchdown. And number 1, Duke Shelley. I believe this is the exact definition of interception. Just takes the ball away from Tylan Wallace as the Wildcats rolled at home. That's it for this week's episode of Big 12 Big Football. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Saturday. For the Big 12 Conference, I'm Aaron Pryor.